By Berger. He saw it with traffic in front of him, and then it's Carey to clear it away.
They killed off one of the penalties.
Owensboro 0 for 4 on the power play. They have a minute with which to work on this remaining advantage. 5 on 4. Tossed ahead. Tap back down. Returned out wide. Trying to rotate in, but then met there. Good work by Kleisen. The junior watches as his teammate Armada glides in.
Nice job by Armada. Every second back there ticking off that power play.
Finally dug out, and then Carey will do the honors the rest of the way down the ice.
Well, you mentioned Mike Kleisen, and his mate set that blue line will not allow Owensboro to just get their power play set up in their offensive zone.
30 seconds remaining on the power play. They'll try and pitch in, try and hold up, but that Armada doing the work again. Yeoman's work. Now only a freshman. For the speedy Boyce on ahead, short-handed. His carry will take it down deep before it's taken by Hutchison.
Hutchison, nice play to break that up.
His pass, though, intercepted by Armada, who read it well and is having a fine hockey game this afternoon, a fine second period. No more evident than on this power play, but Harmon, a couple of dangles, and then the last ticks of the man advantage expire. Owensboro is 0 for 5 on the power play. Now it's Gleason out in front. A good back check. Still got it back, and then slid it behind David Himes before it is sent down the length for icing. 37 seconds remain in the second period. Trinity, halfway through, took the 1-0 advantage, clinging to it after dodging another two-man deficit.
Special teams, they talk about it in football all the time, and they'll talk about it in hockey as well, especially if this doesn't turn around for the Rampage. Two-man advantages, and Trinity has done a great job of killing those off, and that could be the difference in the game. Too early to tell, obviously, but big opportunities missed.
So a brief look at the pacing Jim Harmon, the head coach of Owensboro. Flint native, coached a lot of travel inline hockey and has had a lot of his players make the transition. He's in his first season coaching this program. 4th overall, and they've made it to the title game. Turnover here. Carey tripped, and we're going to have a call.
Yep.
That is exactly the case with 11.9 remaining in the seconds. Dan Carey showing his worth and earning the power play upcoming for Trinity.
You take a look, watch. It looks like he's got an opportunity, but from the back, that's Bowles who comes and picks up the penalty. And so unless Trinity scores a very quick goal here, they'll get an opportunity to start the third period on the man advantage.
So the 5 in black take the ice.
Boy, I was in both locker rooms before the game, and if you want to have a big game atmosphere, there was that in both the dressing rooms. There was a lot of tension, a lot of excitement.
5 seconds remain in the period. This is returned to the back. The shot taken by Swabek. It got on net before it's tossed aside. You can tell maybe the Trinity fans are happy they have the 1-0 advantage, but 14 minutes remain. And nervous moments await for both fan bases and schools here in the Kentucky High School Hockey League State Championship. Louisville Trinity leading Owensboro 1-0 after 2. We'll step aside as you watch high school hockey in its debut on Wazoo Sports. The Ice Center in downtown Owensboro after 28 minutes. Just one period remaining. Louisville Trinity leading Owensboro 1-0 in the Kentucky High School Hockey League State Championship. Neil Sika, Bob Valvano, the commish, if you will. And I think both teams have to be happy with the way they played. They controlled the play. For the lion's share, Trinity had the early going, taking control of some things, but Owensboro settles in. They had some power plays, I think, back and forth, and then just a hustle play on the goal, creating enough deflection. But I think both teams have to be thinking, oh, we both got a chance to put this away in the third.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's one of the things you look at. Are they things you can hang your hat on? Owensboro early, maybe a little jittery, and then they really regrouped and came out with strength of their own. They had two-man advantages. They were forcing the issue a little bit, unable to score. Then they had to kill a two-man disadvantage as well. They were able to do that. Both goaltenders made some big saves. There have been a lot of shots, but that's largely because I think the back checking's been so good for both teams. They're both playing some good defense. So it's really been a lot of things that both teams can hang their hat on after 2/3 of this game in the book.
Well, let's take a look at how we got here with Trinity leading 1-0. Owensboro, early in that period, Bob mentioning the two-man advantages they had in that second period. That's kind of been the one thing that Trinity has gotten themselves into a bit of mischief with, is getting themselves into some penalty trouble, but they've been able to use their penalty killers, and of course great goaltending of Blake Berger to make a couple of stops. But there's been some traffic in front as you take a look.
That was a good stop there, good low shot, and this is really when Owensboro kind of, after their initial jitters to settle down, had some scoring opportunities. But now Trinity had some as well. There's a good opportunity by Kleisik, and turned away. You've got both goaltenders who are on the All-State honorable mention team, so these are two terrific netminders, and then you really can't fault the goaltender for this one. Watch the initial save by Moore right there. The rebound, though, comes to the captain, Daniel Carey. He's not going to make a mistake with that, and that play is the difference in the game. 1-0 for the Shamrocks.
So fans, the blue and white of Owensboro, patiently and nervously awaiting the start of this third period, where they still watch as Trinity carries on to their third power play. They have completed 2 of those, and they'll be up a man remaining to start the third period. What stands out, the 7 penalties from Trinity, but they have put aside everything Owensboro has thrown in the direction of Blake Berger, and that's with what you have made a point clear on: defensive back checking in your own end, getting back, making sure that there's some net presence. We talk about that so much on the offensive end. Defensively, that's such a crucial thing, especially when you only got 3 guys out there.
Well, certainly, you know, when you see a game of this magnitude, and frankly, the goal is a good example. You know, you don't want to see the game decided by a fluky play or a really blatant mistake by somebody where that kid goes home and feels like, boy, you know, I was the GOAT. Both teams have killed two-man shorthanded situations. We talked about that. Goaltenders have made saves, and the goal for Trinity, appropriate that the captain scores it. And as we said, you really can't fault Moore at all for that one. He made a terrific initial save. Not much you can do about the rebound.
Honorable mention in 2010 was Daniel Carey, first team here in 2011. 31 points during the regular season, the 16-game regular season. Bob, while we start this with this game still in the balance, and you've talked about the league, which has grown, it's expanded, it's shrunken a bit. What is some of the future? Are there people knocking on the door looking to maybe compete?
Well, it's one of the things you mentioned. Sometimes we had more teams, but what we really tried to focus on was getting solid teams in place, and these 9 teams are solidly committed. Good coaching, fine players. We had a good year this year. You see how the teams got to this championship game. Competitive games. Trinity, the first place team, dethroning the 2-time defending champions from Oldham County, and then a very tight checking game between the host team, Owensboro, beating a good Eastern team to get here as well.
With our great Wazoo Sports crew, Neil Siga, Bob Valvano, third period underway. Kentucky High School Hockey League State Championship. Trinity, as that shamrock on their sweater symbolizes, they've got 3, and that's more as the funnel to the back. Minute and a half of a power play to commence this third period for the Rocks, and Owensboro with Smith and Harmon, along with Wiggins and Weaver out there on the quad to kill it.
I've been so impressed with both these goaltenders not giving up rebounds. I mean, the guy's right on their doorstep. That puck pops loose for just a second. It's going to be in the back of the net. They've done a good job.
Falling into pillows. This is scaled and then held. Hines.
Tough deflections on the back of the net. Carey raised the stick. I think he thought it went in.
Maybe looking to sell it a little bit too
much. It's hard to sell. It's certainly you can find it outside the goal. They're not going to give you that one.
Stay in and have another face-off. Very important for momentum. If you're Owensboro, to kill this off to start the period. Flew through some crosstown traffic. Weaver slipped, trying to carry out.
Nice
Sets up
pass.
Boyce.
Wow, what a stop again by Moore on a one-timer by Boyce. Wow.
Carey was able to find that seam and leak it to him. This is Carey. Took the shot from Smith. Returned to the back. Carey to the middle.
Nice defensive play there by Wiggins.
Still not out. In deep. It's Carey. Shot that wide on the pass from Himes. Still 30 seconds remaining on this power play. This was a trip at the end of the period. Cooper Bowles. Weaver. Looking. Turning it back aside, but this will just kill off a few more seconds. Get a couple of new reinforcements out there in white for Owensboro. A Metro team mixed together with a pot of 8 high schools providing their talents. Their first championship. Some trouble here deep in their own ends before it's lifted back out to center. 2 minutes have been played in the third. The power play is over. Trinity officially is 0 for 3. They outshot the Rampage by 5 and a big edge in that second period, 10-3. A couple more added here at the tail beginning of the period.
Nicely played by Harmon. They tried to give and go, but defensively he'd have none of it, broke it up easily.
See how smooth he is. This is swapping like a stone, but Berger there to hold on. Second team All-League in 2011. I've already talked about the goaltending. You don't get this far without it. Berger only a sophomore. Moore is a junior from Bowling Green High School. Swabek wrapped it around, waiting for it, then a one-on-one battle. Armada. Swabek. Kleisik leaves it on back. Owensboro allowing to establish their forecheck here, but good pass up alongside it goes and brought on in by Gleason. Drawing a crowd of 3. This shot is blocked off of Moore. Both netminders very calm. Nothing phases them as this return but not out. Another turnover. If anything, Owensboro has given it away around their line and the neutral zone. This is Gleason.
Moore standing on his head to keep him in it here because there have been giveaways. They are buzzing all around him.
Kleisik. Gleason. Gleason's had a fine game.
Again, still not out.
This to the middle.
Harmon confidently, though, will take it out of his own defensive zone.
So often will. This will allow a change for Owensboro, which they badly need. 3.5 minutes have been played in the third period. It's a 1-0 Trinity lead. Trinity didn't even get out of the quarterfinals. Didn't get to the quarterfinals. They were in the play-in game last year. This is Harmon. Brought it along. He's got to generate some offense. Does there, but right to the glove of Berger. Gone a while without a real true shot from the Rampage, but needed it from their captain.
Probably, you're right. A good idea, even though it was not a great opportunity. Just throw one on goal, try and get a little sense of getting some momentum back because Trinity has been all around their cage, not able to expand their lead.
Chris Kelly, 21 in black, works it free and then across.
Nice
Here's
pass.
Carey.
Defensive play that time.
Trying to use Rao as a screen, but Rao does his job and now has to do some more work to get it out. Boyce just kind of slithered that to the blue before Moore gets some help to anchor it back. But waiting for it is Carey, the Rock captain.
So he and